So it's been announced and everyone is excited. The United States, Mexico and Canada, in a historic united bid, won the 2026 World Cup bid, with Morocco losing out. Everyone is excited, especially people in the Caribbean, Central, South and North America. But all the euphoria aside, how is this actually going to work? Let's discuss in one moment. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Extra Time TV. I'm your host, Sooklal, and let's get into it, shall we? 3 countries, 1 World Cup. The United States, Mexico, and Canada are geographically very massive, each of which has its own very distinct football culture. No, I'm not going to call it soccer. The Mexicans have a powerful league and a colorful, proud history in the sport. The United States have always tried to do things differently and have the ever-growing MLS, which was once irresponsibly labeled as a retirement league. It's now able to attract international stars, Thierry Henry, Giovinco in his prime, and of course, the latest notable addition, Zlatan. I am Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and of course, former Manchester United superstar Wayne Rooney. Speaking of Giovinco, who plays for Toronto FC, Canada has been trying to establish its footballing identity, and it's definitely not the first nation when you mention football. But let's get into the reality of it. The United States made a very good case for themselves after hosting the very successful Copa America and silenced all doubters after World Cup '94. Mexico hosted 2 World Cups, and Canada hosted the Women's World Cup in 2015 and the Women's Under-20 World Cup. And it shows how football, no, I'm not going to say soccer, has infiltrated the country in a way many never expected, particularly in the United States and Canada. And this raises the first question: who plays where? What do I mean by this? I'm sure this seems like an odd question, but hear me out. According to reports, bid officials have already determined how the games will be allocated, with the United States staging 60 matches, including every game from the quarterfinals onwards. Canada and Mexico will stage 10 matches each. Finally, the logistical details such as the city selection and fixture scheduling will ultimately be settled by FIFA. They plan to stage games in all 3 host nations on the opening day, which sounds crazy to me, with the main opening match likely to be held in either Mexico City or Los Angeles. Let's say the team you are following goes all the way to the final. It is possible they, and by they I mean the fan, which is probably us, would have to travel to Mexico, USA, and possibly Canada. It presents quite a challenge for the organizers of the groups and fixtures. For example, I remember being at the Copa Centenario in 2016 and having to travel to California, Houston, Chicago, Seattle, and New Jersey. Wow, you see where I'm going with this. And now it's in Mexico and Canada. That is a lot of traveling. Many European players who make the jump to MLS complain about the ridiculous distances and vastly different weather conditions when playing in the US. It's an entirely different challenge by itself. It seems it has been determined that the tournament will be hosted by 16 cities, with the United States hosting the quarterfinal, semifinals, and finals. I don't know if Mexico will be happy with that. The infrastructure is definitely there in all 3 countries, but it definitely raises a very valid question for people who are considering going to this tournament, especially people in the Caribbean like us. Are you willing to travel across the US, Mexico, and Canada, with the rules of travel in the United States being very strict? You know what I mean. One has to consider multiple visas, multiple locations, hotels, so many things, which is not a new thing, but the sheer distance is definitely something that makes this tournament a bit of a different case altogether, and will force you to pay almost more attention than usual to the fixture list. And this leads us to our next point: unlikely allies. It's not a well-kept secret, the tension between the United States and Mexico is ever present, and also the relationship with Canada has been far from rosy. So this event represents in many ways a social aspect that shocked many, that these 3 nations could interact and unite for such a bid. Will these political issues roll over into the tournament when it kicks off? Is it possible for countries with such a vastly different view on many things be able to coexist for this tournament without any problems? Why not? So ladies and gentlemen, the World Cup in 2026 is unprecedented. 3 nations hosting for the first time. The possible 48-nation World Cup, and according to bid chairman Carlos Cordeiro, has said that the 2026 World Cup would hand the world governing body FIFA a record of $11 billion. That's 9.25 billion euros. Profit from total revenues of 14 billion. That figure would shatter the 2.6 billion profit from the 2014 World Cup in Brazil. Holy shit. Let me be very clear though, I am in no way trying to detract anyone from this tournament in any way. But to highlight that even though this particular World Cup bid was quite groundbreaking, it must be said, like with all new things, it presents many new challenges. And I can tell you this though, I am definitely going to be there. So with that being said, this episode of Extra Time TV has been brought to you by Flow Mobile, where Flow Mobile users can download the Flow Sports app and watch Flow Sports 1 for free. This is Sooklal of Extra Time TV. Thank you for joining us.